So this is a video about English knitting style, the style in English knitting. It's not an extensive video on how to knit. So I'm expecting most of you to have some knowledge of knitting, and I've only got a small sample with 5 knit, 5 purl, 5 knit, 5 purl, just so that we can look on how you do the knit and how you do the purl. And then I'm going to compare that to the German or continental style of knitting, which is when you hold the yarn on your left hand side. English style yarn on the right, German and continental on the left. So the most important thing is your tension, and different people do it different ways. I wrap around my working yarn through my pinky, and that allows me to keep a nice even tension. I hold on to the rest of it with my 3 fingers. My index finger comes under, and then that's how I hold on to my yarn. Okay, some people just wrap it around as such and are ready to work this way. Some people just grab onto it and stick their finger. It can be any which way you are most comfortable with. The thing is, the yarn has to come from your right hand. So when you're knitting English style, your yarn is in your right hand, and to do a knit stitch, you come in through the front loop, you throw, it's known as throwing your yarn, but you're really just wrapping your yarn around the needle, you're bringing it back through and taking it off. And you're doing that for all your knit stitches, wrapping your yarn around. For the purl stitches, we all know we need to bring the yarn forward. So you bring your yarn forward, bring your needle through the stitch and wrap around, bring it back and take it off. So there I used my middle finger to wrap the yarn around. I don't usually use my middle finger. I usually just use my index. And my index just slides up and down the needle, carrying the yarn with it to knit the stitches. Now I'm back to a knit. Bring my yarn back and knit my stitches. So it's pretty straightforward doing it this way. And now purl, I bring my yarn forward and I purl. So now the next row, I want to show you how to do it the German or the continental. For that, my yarn has to be on my left hand. And again, tension is key here. So you want to make sure that your tension is nice. Again, I'm comfortable wrapping it around my pinky and then hold it this way. And then I'm ready to work. Some people wrap it around their index and keep tension this way. Some people like weave it through the fingers and do it this way. I've even heard of some people wrapping it around their wrist, especially if you're a really tight knitter. They wrap it around the wrist and it makes you a looser knitter. I've never tried it this way, but it's always worth a try to try everything once. Maybe I'll do that one of these rows. But for this video, to demonstrate, I'm going to wrap it around my pinky because it's what I'm most comfortable with. And again, the yarn has to come over your index the same way as it does with the English style. You're going to knit the same way, meaning you're still coming in through that front loop. But instead of holding onto your left and wrapping with your right, you have to kind of come in, scoop and grab the working yarn, scoop it or pick, which this technique is known as picking your yarn. So you pick and then you take it off. Again, you come in through the front, you pick it, and you bring it off. Let me come closer. You come in, you pick it, and you take it off. And you're going to do that for all your knit stitches. And take it off. It's a much faster, I'm just going to undo that one. It's much faster because you're coming in and you're just picking and going. Whereas when you're doing the English style, you're coming in, you're holding it, wrapping it. So there's a lot more movements and it takes a little more time. So yes, German and continental is definitely faster. When it comes to the purl stitch, there's a lot of different ways of doing this. But my favorite way is using my index. So again, the yarn has to be forward and you have to come in through the top. And I use my index finger to kind of wrap it around and bring it through and take it off. That's what works for me the most comfortable, using my index to kind of scoop it in and bring it down. I've seen people where they use their middle finger when they come here and they use their middle finger to do that movement. I've also seen people when they use their thumb and just kind of flick it around. But as you can see, that is not my strongest way. The thumb is actually, it could be pretty fast if I practiced it maybe a little bit more. But I like using my index. So I'm back to knitting, and that's the other difference with this style of knitting. It's so easy to go back and forth between knitting and purling. I just bring my yarn forward by moving my needle this way. So you save time there as well, instead of bringing it forward and taking it back. So I'm back to knitting, so I bring it back. I just come and pick my yarn. Oops. Bring it forward for my purls. And essentially, that is it. I strongly recommend trying them all and practicing with them and getting a feel for them. It's good to be able to do different knitting styles or knitting a different way just for your hands. It's good for the different muscles that you're using, and to give a break to the other muscles that you tend to abuse a lot.